Ladies and gentlemen, children of all wages, I would like to first start off by apologizing for being late on this video and not having a video ready last week. I had a bit of a veterinary emergency that took up last week, and I just got behind on everything at this point. So we are still going to continue our countdown to kickoff. And even though last week was technically going to be week 2 of countdown to kickoff for week 2 of the regular season, we are going to start off this week yet again with Oklahoma State. And we're just going to triple up on this week until we get caught up, because we also still have to do Portland State, which will be happening in the weekend that just took place just now. And we're already heading in to week 3, which I believe is USC next. I'll have to look that up again. But anyway, we're going to get back on track. We're going to be back on track, and we're going to still have fun telling the stories of Oregon Ducks football. So by all means, please enjoy the show. Moving on from here on out.
Foot race to their sideline. Touchdown, Oregon!
This is the gorgeous backdrop of San Diego for the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl.
So the Holiday Bowl is a bowl game right before New Year's Eve that's played here in San Diego, California. It used to be played in Qualcomm Stadium, and it was at Petco Park until Qualcomm then became Snapdragon Stadium as it is today. Over the years, Oregon has played Oklahoma, and in the Civil War game, they played another OSU with an orange and black color scheme. But somehow, Oregon only made it to the 2008 Holiday Bowl before playing Oklahoma State for the first time ever. And as we all know, 2008 from the last video for Oregon was kind of a lackluster-ish year. Everyone had kind of high expectations, especially after the devastating result of the 2007 season. They're expecting a little more, maybe a Pac-10 championship though, but USC won it in 2008, and Oregon was the runner-up of the conference, so naturally they went to the Holiday Bowl. Now for the Big 12, it was a little different. See, Oklahoma State had a similar record as Oregon that year, but they did not play second in the conference. I think they were like 4th or 5th. They were definitely middle of the conference in terms of standings. But a lot of those teams like Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, I believe too, was still in the Big 12 at the time. All these teams either made the national championship game or they went to a BCS bowl game. So they were the natural runner-up at that time. Now, both Oklahoma State and Oregon were kind of in the same place in terms of where their programs were. They always had a lot of kind of high expectations, very high-powered offenses, lots of playmakers, but still kind of lacked on defense. That kind of kept them from that major level that they were seeking. So this was kind of the game and the matchup. It's kind of a perfect matchup in the terms of the yin and yang of the two teams coming together. Yin and yang, not necessarily being one team had good defense and one team had good offense, but they were both kind of the same exact team, same exact identity as a brand of football coming together and kind of just seeing who would win in the first place.
We do expect a couple of high-flying offenses here as the Big 12 collides with the Pac-10. Oklahoma State and Oregon, each team comes in averaging 42 points per game. Each team has scored 65 touchdowns.
So after the regular season came to a conclusion, Oregon versus Oklahoma State in the 2008 Holiday Bowl was the official matchup. Both teams 9-3, and as I previously mentioned before, identical brands of football. So people sort of expected, media analysts and fans alike were expecting kind of a shootout in this game, and that's exactly what they got. We also saw future NFL stars like Patrick Chung for the Ducks, as well as Brandon Pettigrew and Des Bryant for the Cowboys on the other side. Amongst the player pomp and circumstance, there was another element of this game that was taking place, and that was head coach Mike Bellotti was coaching his last game as Oregon Ducks head coach before handing the reins over to Chip Kelly for the 2009 season. And this game lived up to the media and fan pomp and circumstance. The game was a bit of a shootout as a final score, but Oklahoma State did take an early lead, 17-7 in the first half. They were kind of looking like they were gonna take a commanding win of this game, but unfortunately Des Bryant went down in the third quarter with a knee injury, I believe, and that kind of stalled Oklahoma State's offense and gave Oregon a bit of an opening to come in and try to steal the win, and they did, and that was on the shoulders of quarterback Jeremiah Masoli, who took over this game in the second half, kickstarting his legendary run as an Oregon Duck in the 2009 season. But this game was definitely his coming out party. Masoli threw for 258 yards, 1 touchdown, and ran for 106 yards and 3 touchdowns, earning the Holiday Bowl MVP in a 42-31 Duck victory. This was a bit of a comeback for Oregon, but Oregon takes this overall series 1-0. Now, the two programs parted ways after the 2008 Holiday Bowl, and they sort of went on their separate journeys of evolution as a program, Oregon going one way, Oklahoma State going the other way, though they probably had a similar idea of where they wanted to go as programs, but they didn't really cross paths in those years that passed until last year, 2025, where after 17 years, Oregon and Oklahoma State finally found each other again in an early September matchup.
Oregon is paying a lot of money for their team. I guess that the last 3 years that we spent around $7 million over the 3 years. And I think Oregon spent close to 40 last year alone.
Wow.
Now, the story of the 2025 matchup between Oregon and Oklahoma State was definitely different from the Holiday Bowl, not only just because it was in early September, so it was not a bowl game, but in the years that passed, Oklahoma State as a program kind of plateaued a little bit. Now, Oregon definitely had a couple ebbs and flows, but they were definitely on the rise, and they're sort of on the rocket ship to go to the stratosphere, with Dan Lanning coming in his 3rd to 4th year as head coach. Now, because of Oklahoma State's performance over the years and the results that they weren't expecting were happening with the program over those years, Mike Gundy was officially on the hot seat. And Mike Gundy was also talking about, before this game too, he was trying to explain the difference in the way that college football works post the NIL era, whereas a program like Oregon is starting to find more success or being able to adapt and handle the post NIL era, whereas Mike Gundy feels like he's being thrown under the bus after the NIL era because he's not getting the money and resources that he feels like he should be getting, which is the reason for the issues within the Oklahoma State program and the struggles of the football team. And unfortunately, he was kind of proven right in the 2025 matchup against Oregon. Under the lead of quarterback Dante Moore, Oregon handed Mike Gundy the worst loss of his coaching career as an Oklahoma State Cowboy coach, throwing for 266 yards and 3 TDs, while the team offense racked up an entire 631 yards of total offense. Oregon's defense had their bit of fun too, posting back-to-back pick sixes from linebacker Jerry Mixon and defensive back Peyton Woodyard. Now, after the 69-3 massacre the Ducks handed Oklahoma State last September in Autzen Stadium, fans and media alike in the Oklahoma State circles were finally calling for Mike Gundy's head. His seat went from hot to scorching. Oklahoma State as a program decided to keep waiting until the very next week when Oklahoma State lost to Tulsa, of all teams, and that was it for Mike Gundy. Now, Eric Morris is now the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and they will be greeting the Ducks in Stillwater this September as well, where the Ducks have a 2-0 lead in this series, but we will see how it goes this year. Thanks for watching.